Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the program. Now, in the occupied West Hamlet, on the occupied West Bank of Palestine, is where we go. The occupied West Bank Hamlet, a community of 2,500 Palestinians, are set for mass expulsion after a decades old fight to make way for an Israeli army training base or an Israeli army training area. And, this is the next mass expulsion of Palestinian people that the world is ignoring at the moment. And the situation has become quite tense over there. Brother Sami Hureini is a local organizer from Masafer Yatta and also coordinator of a small youth group in Masafer Yatta called Youth of Sumud. He joins me now in Palestine. Sami, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. مساء الخير، مساء الخير أخوي لقمان
MashaAllah.
ولكل
Ahlan wa sahlan.
المستمعين.
Ameen,
أهلا
inshallah.
فيك.
I mean, Brother Sami, I hope you are well. And of course, the reason why we're talking to you tonight is of a very grave issue, and that is the mass expulsion that people in Masafer Yatta are facing. Sami, remind us again, why are these communities being targeted? Why are they facing mass expulsion? Remind us again.
تمام. Good evening again for everyone. And I would like to start from Masafer Yatta. Masafer Yatta is suffering and facing the threat of the eviction targeted by Israel with one policy, which called with two policies. I'm sorry. With one of them is the firing zone area, and the other policy is the settlements. Like both of them, the Israeli military and the Israeli settlers are incorporating to evict Palestinians from Masafer Yatta, to evict us out from our land. We are talking about we are in West Bank, South Hebron city, exactly like the end of the south, very close south of the West Bank, very close to the Green Line border between the West Bank and the 48. The main goal, what we are, the big threat we are facing is that Israel want to kick us out from our land and to annexate all these lands. It's about 30,000 dunum to annexate it to Naqab and to 48.
Okay, now in terms of the mood on the ground at the moment, we have seen the demolitions. We have heard about the families that have been taken away from their, places of residence. But what is the mood among residents of Masafer Yatta? Because I think from the 1960s, there was trouble there, but it looks like now it's a lot more intense, maybe.
Uh, So, I would like to mention as well this before I jump to your question. Maybe it's
Hmm.
important. What like the situation of Masafer Yatta, like Israel didn't commit Israel already committed the first crime in Masafer Yatta in the end of the 1999 when they evicted 12 Palestinian village. We're talking about a war crime, forcible transfer crime, when they carried out our Palestinian people who are living in these villages since decades inside the military trucks, inside the Israeli military trucks, and throwing them outside of the area of Masafer Yatta. In the 2000, our people were able to come back and to settle in their land with a temporary decision by the Israeli courts until a new decision will come out and will cancel this temporary decision. And the new decision just came out on the 4th of May 2022. And since this decision came up, like we're talking about 22 years of a legal battle inside the Israeli courts. We don't believe in the Israeli court. Our people didn't have a lot of option. That's why the only option we went to the Israeli courts, trying to trying to get some justice. But as usual, the Israeli racist laws against Palestinians continue in the same way, in the same system, and it decided again in the 4th of May to commit this war crime again and to evict us out from our land, to evict our people. But this time they decided for 8 villages. When we talk about the number of 8 villages, 10 villages, it doesn't, at some point, if the eviction crime happen, it will involve more than 8. And since the decision, as you mentioned before, like was issued, We are talking about a huge like targeting of the Palestinians in their land every day. Like everything, like became upside down with a huge campaign of home demolishing. We are talking about the ongoing military trainings inside and and between the villages inside the area of Masafer Yatta and in between the villages. What Israel is trying to do right now, and the Israeli military, it's trying to make the environment very difficult for our people to continue to live in this place in order to live. That's what they are doing now. They don't want to take the same shape the eviction took in the 99. Now they want to take the shape of really just making the life more and more harder. Confiscating the cars. Today, a car was confiscated. We are talking about harassing the Palestinian shepherds. When we talk about the helicopters they are using in Masafer Yatta in order to do this military training, in order to scare the people, to scare the animals, to scare everything. When we talk about the military tanks destroying all the agricultural land and etc., the roads, everything. We're talking about the live ammunition, the live bullets which they are using for the trainings, reaching the houses, the roof of the houses. Uh, Arresting the people without any charges. At some point, I'm one of the people that I was detained for 8 hours in the 29th of June, and also my car was confiscated because, I mean, the excuse of them when they said it's being in a firing zone area. Exactly what is Israel is doing is like they want to maintain that this is an firing zone area, which like they are converting the normal life in this place to a war zone, to scare our people and to evict our people from this place. And this is, completely, it's a big war crime and misery situation. What's going on here every day, chasing, scaring, demolishing, terrifying, settlers violent as well. I just mentioned this is all the main part, honestly, and just about this is like what the Israeli soldiers are doing, beside of the settlers ongoing violent with and ongoing stealing of our land. Every day we are, in every minute in here in Palestine, in this land, then a huge violation for all the international laws and the humanitarian laws.
Sami, I mean, obviously, life is really very, very, very difficult, and people are living under intense amount of stress, particularly after what you've just explained to us. I mean, we've seen the reports as well, but life in Masafer Yatta is a very simple life. People are farmers there. People, they keep animals there. I'm told there's no even electricity there. There aren't even proper roads. Perhaps if you could just tell us what is it that the Israelis want?
Yeah. I really what Israel. Okay, West Bank is divided to area A and B and C, and in the
Mm,
area C, it's more than 60% of the West Bank, which is like which is under the full Israeli military control. What
mm,
Israel is doing, and the main big policy, is to push all the Palestinians in area C to area A and B in order to surround us in small cantonades and to lose our land. That's what they want. And
mm,
in the other hand, they make the life even harder and harder for Palestinians who are living in Area C. They are, as you just mentioned, we have no access to water, no access to electricity, no access to roads, no access to healthcare, anything. All this is inside the Israeli military law. Again, for a Palestinian, they consider it illegal. It's illegal if we start to fix a road leading to a village. It's illegal. But for an illegal settlement on our land, it's legal. This is the apartheid system which is going on in Palestine and in Masafer Yatta. What our people here are living, we are like this, we are in this way simple lifestyle. We have been
mm,
living this lifestyle for decades of grazing, shepherding. This is our life in this place, farming the land. This is each family in Masafer Yatta have sheep for their family income, and how this lifestyle went for decades and for years. Okay, so what's going on now? People also like are living in caves. This is like how our people started living their life. They were in the caves, and then started by the developing, going to the tents, and then going to build the houses. And as we can see now, Israel want to destroy all the houses that our people has built. Since the families were growing and the families are getting bigger, the caves are not enough, and as well shelters for the sheep. It's normally like people, develop and expand and want to do that. But Israel is even preventing this. They always claim, it's illegal, blah 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 blah, and you need permits to do this thing. And all, never we Palestinians got this kind of permits. Hundreds and thousands of permits has been applied for Israel. Never. Or like to be honest, it's like one of the rare cases. People get this kind of permits in order for that. But what is also very additional to this, usually the life in Area C is very difficult because we are prevented to any main human rights services and needs. We are prevented from that. But still, as area like Masafer Yatta, it's Area C, but it's also a firing zone area, which is the law is of life hard is double because, as I said, the car confiscation, the media confiscation, the chasing with the helicopters, like the life elimination, all of this life
Mm-hmm.
situation is getting even
Mm-hmm.
more difficult and difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we mean when we say, the existence and the sumud of our people in this land with all this situation is the biggest resistance, and that's our role, how we can support this sumud and this steadfastness to continue alongside, hand by hand and arm by arm, along our people, to continue this struggle and destroy occupation plans.
Mm. Sami, I just want to find out from you in terms of what has been targeted in the last few weeks or in the coming weeks rather. I understand there's some masajid or a masjid and some schools that have been targeted for demolitions. I mean, I know what you mentioned, but the fact is demolitions are continuing. Tell us about the school and the masjid that the Israelis want to demolish.
We have four schools in Masafer Yatta, and we have as well several masjids also in the villages, which as well as the houses, everything is facing the threat of demolishing. Israel has committed to operation of demolishing in Masafer Yatta until now, just since the decision until now. But the process of demolishing is continuing to go and to happen. We are every day waking up in the morning expecting the bulldozer coming to demolish the schools, the homes, the masjid. Everything here is facing the threat of demolishing and ethnic and deleting all the the life that exists in this place, and Palestinian life that exists in this land, in this area. And that is completely unfair and unjust. And it's also Israel is doing this also without caring for any international attention or any international law, while we have been all the time trying to make a lot of raising awareness about the situation of all what we are facing, in order to have like a stand from the international community to hold Israel accountable. And in the same time, there hasn't been taken any serious action by the international community. And we are telling everyone at any moment, our homes and our masjid, our schools, our everything we have would be demolished by Israel at any moment in this time, and
Hmm.
in this time.
Sami, here's my final question, Sami. Despite what is happening and despite the difficulties that the Palestinians are undergoing in Masafer Yatta, there's not enough awareness about the challenges of that people are being faced with internationally. You mentioned it in some of your answers. The international community is not doing anything, but what can we do to increase awareness, to let people know what's happening in Masafer Yatta, that it is almost a genocide in terms of international law, in terms of the people that are there. It's just it's violating all international laws. But what can be done to increase awareness for Masafer Yatta?
Yeah, sure. People can do, and people can do, everyone can do from his home to stand with Masafer Yatta and stand with Palestine and with Palestinian people. Especially like for the case of Masafer Yatta, we have launched a lot of internet, online and international campaigns in order that we are connecting with with all the people in the world in order to stay in solidarity, to especially to raise awareness. We want everyone to continue to follow up about the situation in Masafer Yatta and to share to all the world what's going on here, what we are living, and to live this, like this is like an intense and dangerous moments we are going through. Everyone must continue to talk about Masafer Yatta, share about Masafer Yatta, join the online campaigns of Masafer Yatta, try to push everyone from his place to make his government really to take serious and to put, yeah, and his politician to take actions towards Masafer Yatta to hold Israel accountable. Follow, for example, our Youth of Sumud social media, Instagram page, and Stop the Wall, and other pages where you can follow a lot about the daily updates of what we are living and what we are facing, and you continue to share about this and to make people know and to make your governments move. And so yeah, really to continue to stay silent, it's not acceptable. We have been doing so many efforts trying for this. Even we are inviting politicians to Masafer Yatta, European Union people as well. We have been sitting writing and asking people to write the letter to send it to Congress member even in the US. Have several steps we have been trying. We want this to continue and to be bigger and bigger, because all what we have done is not bringing any result yet, because we are still every day at any moment I can be arrested, my neighbors can lose their homes. It's completely hard time that really we call in this hard time everyone to take action and to stand in Masafer Yatta, especially staying connected. It's the best how you can keep following all the steps to what to do.
Sami, I said that was my last question, but this is my last question. I was listening to, I was listening to footage, an interview of an old man, and a lot of old people stay in Masafer Yatta, and they were saying that we will never allow the Israelis to take over our land. We will not allow them to. If they want to take our land, they're going to take our lives. Is that the attitude of people on the ground? They are so defiant. They are so brave.
Completely, man. Our people in Masafer Yatta, everyone, if you ask him, will you leave? He will say, I will never leave and I will die here. This is the place of our elderly people where they were born. And this is the land of the ancestors, and they will never leave. But still, that's why we are calling everyone to get engaged to support the existence and our people to continue to remain in their land. Israel want to commit this crime, but we are here and we will never leave. Even if they do all their best and their power to evict us, we will come back. We will not go. We will not go anywhere. This is our land. This is our home. This is our place, and we will continue to fight for it for the last breath. No way that we leave. No way.
Sami Hureini, shukran lakum, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your time. And thank you very much for talking to us here at Salam Media in Johannesburg, South Africa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يعطيك العافية. مع السلامة.
Ma'asalam. Sami Hureini there from Youth of Sumud. You can check them out on social media. That's Youth of SUMUD. And of course, as he says, he made a plea that whoever listens to this broadcast should at least try to get onto the social media campaign, pressurize their politicians to take serious action, talk about it, and make people know what is going on in Masafer Yatta. Just remember that Masafer Yatta in South Hebron, the Israelis are trying to evacuate 2,500 Palestinians from 8 villages for a firing zone. They want to do military exercises there. And Sami are telling us there that people have been living there for generations. And there's even a Roman well that has been, that was, erected by the Roman Empire that is still there in Masafer Yatta. So it's a historical place as well. But he says that the attitude of the people on the ground is that we will not move. We will not move, and we will not even listen to anybody that tells us to move. And if it means we will take, it will cost us our lives, then so be it. And that's the attitude of resistance, brave resistance that we always find in our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And of course, inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for them. Bringing our time to just exactly 8 p.m. on the dot Central African time. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we turn our attention to the African continent, and particularly those that are from the African continent living in South Africa. From across the border in Limpopo, the Zimbabwe exemption permit. What is the story with that? Stay tuned to find out.